the decision of rushing around, and I thought, well, a lot of people like me watching me makeup on anyway, so I thought I'd just carry on. And this whole thing's about looking and feeling good from the inside out. And I really like being real. You know, it's kind of like not this kind of YouTube false impression. You know, I get blotchy spots and all the rest of it. You know, I think that's the thing, isn't it? We're both quite normal people.
Yeah, I think we work with quite similar people as well, don't we? My average client age is kind of like 40 to mid 60s. It's the stage of life when things that used to work when you were 20, I'm sure it's much the same in the makeup world. You don't use the same foundations when you did when you were 20. You don't eat the same foods as when you were 20. It doesn't work the same way, does it?
Doesn't. I mean, I think that's where my niche, when I've worked with people and they've like said, well, what's your niche? I think my niche is an exact replica of me, which is somebody who's just noticed that things just don't work the same anymore, and that product that I used to use just doesn't have the same thing anymore. But we're going to be really snappy today, so I'm going to try not to talk. I know it's my fault, it's because I talk all the time. But anyway, I'm in my studio, so I think on StreamYard, you watch now, the camera's probably going to fall. Oh, no, I'm not going to turn the camera, but the picture I've got up there is really good. You can see everything that's going on. The picture you've got down there is like me standing by a bookcase. I may as well be in my front room.
It's got your name behind you at least.
I feel sometimes people like to see where I work, which makes like a difference, doesn't it? I need to clean my glasses as well. So go on then, give us a top tip as to...
Okay, so this is top tips. My absolute passion in life is helping people understand the science of weight loss. Okay, so my tips aren't like the standard weight loss advice. You'll hear me doing different things to what other people do. For example, I never tell people to count calories. And that's probably my first tip today, actually. If you are looking to lose weight and keep it off, my top tip would be to not just restrict your calories and keep that deficit there, because actually your body can adapt. They've done loads of studies in the last 10 years to show that people who lose weight using a calorie deficit model, and that's their primary way of losing weight, you put it back on again, or you plateau and you just can't get where you want to get, because your body can adapt. Our bodies are really clever. And just like, 10,000 years ago when we were living in the woods catching our food, if you didn't catch enough food and you didn't have enough to eat, your body wouldn't just give up and die. Your body would adapt and use less calories and get more out of the food. So actually, my top tip number one, if you want to stay, looking great and getting to your weight goals, which a lot of people come to me for help with, is don't stick to that one model and do something.
Is that why we get like yo-yo dieting?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we get yo-yo dieting. Definitely. I think another reason is yo-yo. The yo-yo effect is because people will try and do a diet they can't stick to. They think they're going to keep the motivation going. And actually, if you're saying, I don't know, what are the diets? Cabbage soup diet used to be a big thing, didn't it? 20 years ago. Nobody's going to eat cabbage soup forever, are they?
Is that where the Cabbage Patch doll came from?
I think that was before that, actually. I don't know for certain that the cabbage soup wasn't around then, but I know I used to work with a girl who used to do the cabbage soup diet, and she'd spend about 12 days with this thermos flask of soup that smelled quite good, actually. But even she said after about day 4, what used to taste quite good doesn't taste good anymore. And you might get yourself a nice good benefit in 12 days and you feel quite good. But because you're not going to keep that particular method going, it's not a sustainable thing, is it? You can't keep that going motivation-wise forever. So
no, definitely. And I think that's the thing that we've learned, that both of us, every single client that we work with is completely different. Yeah. Apologies if I'm putting my makeup on everybody, but I thought I am quite normal in this part of the world. But as far as a top tip that I would say that wraps in quite nicely with what you've said, and we did do this yesterday, so we are quite good at repeating these things. But they are completely genuine, is that everyone's completely different. And I get really annoyed with YouTube videos, because YouTube videos, and we keep talking about our own twin all the time, don't we? That people watch these things and think that, oh, that eyeshadow looks fantastic, so I'm going to use it. But the person on the YouTube video has probably got blonde hair. She's probably a stone lighter or heavier than you. She's got different skin texture, different skin tone, different face shape. And what happens with me is everyone comes to my studio here or does things online with me now, and all I'm doing is mopping up the problems that people have, because they go and buy products, and now I don't sell products anymore. I'm getting tons of people saying, I had somebody come to me and, they literally emptied out their makeup bag of things that they brought since I stopped wearing makeup, and said, what do you think to these things that I've brought? And I was just thinking, if you not listened to anything that I've said, which is how you can get 1 or 2 products and use them so much better if you know how to use them right. But going back to my point is, I'm really nervous about people watching YouTube videos, whether it be, painting, decorating, diet, putting your makeup on, or what have you, because ultimately at the end of the day, those YouTube videos are there for people to sell you products. So just be really mindful of that. And if they are demonstrating a product, or talking about nutrition, or talking about a hairstyle, or talking about anything like that, there's a really good chance that that person is not you. So it is not going to look the same as you. So I can't. Can I put my makeup on while I'm talking? I think I can. I think I've done all these.
Well, you've been doing that quite well so far. But do you want me to chip in with another tip, just so you can do your fine detail work? There we go. So my number 2 tip. So again, a lot based on recent science that's been done. There's been a great study been done recently about sweeteners. Now, a lot of diet plans actually tell people to choose the sweetener option rather than the sugar option. Now, I'm not saying you should go out and just eat sugar, but switching to sweeteners damages your gut bacteria. And so my advice, my top tip on a don't do, is actually don't have loads of sweeteners. If you say, well, rather than having Coke, I'm going to have Diet Coke, or rather than having the full sugar sweets, I'll have the sweets of the sweetener, or that, what's that light and low, is it called?
Yeah, and there's also like, is it light and low or sweet and low?
Sweet and low, that's the one. Yeah, so putting that in your tea and your coffee. I don't use these things, I don't see the names on them, but what they do is they adapt your gut bacteria for the worse. And what happens then is your body actually it finds it easier to put weight on. They've actually, if you look at what farmers give their piglets to fatten them up, a lot of farmers these days give sucralose, which is a very commonly used sweetener. They give it to the baby pigs because it fattens them up faster.
I know, I was horrified with that.
Yeah, it is horrific. It's a really artificial way of doing it, but it's the opposite of what we want to do. Even if I did want to fatten myself up, I wouldn't do it using artificial chemicals. But the fact is, people aren't using sucralose to fatten up. They're doing it because they think it's going to help them lose weight, and it doesn't really.
Is it because it's a chemical and it has that effect on your body? So I'm looking at you. I should be looking at the camera.
Yeah, don't get that in your eye because you're looking at the wrong place. The science is still out on exactly how it does it, but they've definitely tracked changes in the gut bacteria profile as to the differences. They've actually taken 2 identical types of mice, given 1 batch food with sucralose in and 1 batch food without it, and the ones with the sucralose get very overweight and the ones without don't. And they've even, it's quite a yucky thing, I hope you're not eating your tea right now, they've actually taken some samples from the guts of the obese mice that have been fed the sucralose, put that into the skinny mice, and even though they've not eaten the sucralose, they still get fat because it's changed the gut bacteria. So it is about the gut bacteria, but we don't quite know the mechanism as to why yet.
Gosh, that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
I've even forgotten all my top tips now because I'm obsessed with this. Because sucralose isn't just a sweetener you put in your tea and coffee; it's in tons of products that people buy for slimming purposes.
Yeah,
and because they've not got the calories in there, the fats and the sugars and what have you. Yeah. But it all goes back to this, what you put in your body, isn't it?
Yeah, even a lot of the exercise supplements, those protein powders and things that people put in their milkshakes and things after exercise, a lot of those have got sweeteners in. So always be really, really careful of what you're doing, putting in your body, because you think you're supporting your body because it sounds good, doesn't it? Protein drink. But if it's full of sweeteners, you might be putting on protein, but you're also going to be eventually making it hard for yourself to stay slim.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's not an overnight thing. It's not like this week eat a sweeteners, next week put on weight. But, over time, it will do that for you.
That'd make quite a big difference. Yeah. Well, you'll see me doing stuff here and you'll be thinking to yourself, what is she going to be doing? I'm just playing. Going back to the old-fashioned world of like a teenager where you just play in your bedroom, really. And that's what I do with a lot of my workshops. We just play, we just try different things. So my next top tip is don't fall for the 3 for 2s. The problem is if you look at the expiry date of a product, and I know I've spoken about this a lot inside my groups, my workshops and things, is a lot of products. If you take a product like this, it has an expiry date of 12 months. So if you open that product, there's a really good chance that that one product is probably going to last you, on average, most people makeup bags about 5 years. So if you're going to buy 3 for 2, think about how long that product's going to last. And ultimately think to yourself, is actually having 3 of them, regardless of what it is, it could be different things that you buy, is actually having 3 of them any advantage whatsoever? Because the things that people bring me, which is their makeup bags, to sort out and sort of get that clarity and get that simplicity and remove all that stress when they put makeup on, by getting those 3 for 2 extra products. This also goes into food and, you know, clothes and all sorts of things as well. They actually really complicate your life. And you know, I don't know if, I mean, my dream would be to have a really simple life that basically is totally uncluttered, but that's never going to happen. But we probably make it worse, because the feeling, and that's what the marketeers play on, the overwhelming feeling, which is what, you know, the feel good factor is, I've saved money, but they don't think of the impact. Dare I say, like Vince with his £1 bar of chocolate that's that big. They're not really helping themselves, are they? Because some people really focus on the price than the value to what that product is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think actually in the food world, the cheaper supermarket, the Lidl and the Aldi, they don't do the 3 for 2 offers because they're already quite cheap. So actually, when you look at the 3 for 2 offers in your Sainsbury's and your Tesco, you think, are they actually saving me money, or are they half as much again as anyway as I would buy if I was going to a cheaper place in the first place?
Yeah, because they've all got to make money at the end of the day. So although I sold all of my cosmetics off, keep looking at you, Suzanne, sorry, because you're so interesting. Because I sold all of my makeup off, then I did sell it at wholesale price, which is the price that I brought it in for. So I didn't make any money. But ultimately, at the end of the day, most things from a product point of view, a brand, you know, is making about 40 to 30% on what they're selling it at. So my argument is, if they're going to sell it cheap or do a 3 for 2, why not just sell it at that price all the time? But we wouldn't go into the shops, would we?
Yeah, I don't know. I think consumers are becoming a bit more savvy these days. So hopefully people, especially knowing what you just said about how long things live in your makeup bag, and I've certainly checked out some lipsticks since I've met you that I think I had 20 years, and probably.
Well, I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you can see. I'm hoping my camera's not going to go flying. If I do that, turn it that way.
It's turning.
Is it turning?
Yeah.
Right. If I do that, can you see that jar?
Yeah, I can.
That jar is full of everyone's makeup for the last like 2 months that have been to see me. People have literally sorted the makeup bag out with me, and they've like gone, actually, I don't need all this stuff. And I've said, don't throw it away with me. Take it home, sort it out when you get back at home. But people have like said, no, I don't actually want to take it home. I want to leave it here. I don't want that issue, sort of thing. So yeah, in a nutshell, I'll stand here. If I do that, then you can carry on looking at it. But in a nutshell, that's what happens. People just have all these products and just don't know what to do with them. I'm doing a completely wrong thing here. If you're looking at me trying to get some advice about putting makeup on, I'm putting a really white colour underneath my eyebrow, which is the wrong thing to do. So don't look at this thinking it's the right thing to do. You'll see me change it back in a minute. But
it's a bit 90s style, that, isn't it? That's what we
very 90s style. Just makes your eyelids look puffy as well. On that camera, but not on this one.
Okay, interesting.
Is it your go or my go next?
I think it's my go because we're doing 3 for 2s, and that was definitely a use it.
Okay,
so let's go for sticking on a gut theme. I was talking about gut a minute ago. We all know antibiotics affect our gut, don't we? It's something that we, you know, not dissing antibiotics. They're very useful when you know, need your life saved and everything. But it's really important when you are having antibiotics, that is the time when you don't eat junk food. And it's really hard to do because it's the time you're not feeling great. But a lot of people do. They go for the comfort food when they're not feeling very good.
Yeah, well, you would, wouldn't you, if you're not well?
You would do. But that couple of weeks after your antibiotics is a time when you're really sensitive to getting food intolerances and growths of things that you don't want going on in your tummy. So my advice is don't don't go for those things at that time. If you can get a neighbour to bring you some healthy vegetable soups and things to keep you going, that's the time you need them. That's why the old-fashioned times, people used to do that, didn't they? You know, grandparents used to tell me they used to bring soup round to their neighbours if they weren't very well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a vegan, obviously, but I do know a lot of people talk about like chicken soup and chicken broth.
Yeah, absolutely. A bone broth would be useful for immunity in that time. But yeah, just in terms of keeping your gut healthy, if you're not careful, your gut can have huge changes after antibiotics, and what used to suit you beforehand won't afterwards, unless you keep testing what's good for you and things like before and after. You won't know what's changed. So sticking to a really nice healthy diet after antibiotics is a good idea.
Because I think a lot of people think it's the antibiotics that's upsetting the gut bacteria and stuff.
It does do it. What basically, if you imagine you've got this is your gut bacteria, couple of pens here, lots of different colours, lots of different types, and the antibiotics will cause you to have diarrhea, perhaps. So it will get rid of that one, and that one.
Yeah.
On the floor. So you've basically got some gaps. Now, if you eat the right food, the same ones will get repopulated and go back in, and you'll have a nice little spectrum again. But if you're not careful, you've had the clear out from the antibiotics and something else comes and lives there instead. And that's the thing that's causing you problems.
Oh.
So, yeah, my blue diary. But, you know.
That's why you're a human chemist and not some kind of, like, simple dietitian, should I say?
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm not just somebody who adds up the number of, you know, protein points and vitamin points in your food and says you've ticked all the boxes. I go a bit deeper than that into hormones and gut bacteria. Yeah.
God, that makes a massive difference. I can't believe how I looked that camera and this camera. I look completely different. So I'm trying to make myself look good on this camera that you can see, but that camera's picking up. It's really, really hard, especially with StreamYard back to front. So my top tip is, next one is, don't follow trends. So basically what a lot of people tend to do is they see something advertised and then they're thinking green eyeshadow's in, so I need to wear that green eyeshadow because it's on trend. Now, the problem with that is that you then create a real difficult scenario and create like a lot of stress. Whereas for me, and obviously don't forget, trends are there, you know, they all come back again. Like, you know, tank tops are back in fashion now, apparently, but apparently they're not called tank tops anymore. Rah skirts and ankle boots will be the next. But everything comes back on a cycle, but it's from a marketing point of view, not because it's going to make you look any better. They will sell you the idea that it's going to make you look better, but it's there fundamentally to make money. So for me, I tend to keep a lot of my stuff in my wardrobe, and I know eventually in 20 years' time it'll come back again. But the key thing is here, don't get overwhelmed with following the trends. That could be food, fashion, fragrance, you know, makeup, that type of thing. Whenever I've retailed cosmetics, I have never brought in products which are ones off, because I can't stand it, and I know a lot of my clients can't stand it, when basically you then go to buy that product again and you can't get it. So for me, it's really, really important that you don't follow trends. And actually, if you have your own personal style, be it tattoos, certain style of hair, that type of thing, then it's really good. I do encourage change, but that's a whole different thing. But following trends, like, for example, walk down the high street, I said it on the video yesterday, walk down the high street, 3 teenage girls, all with black leggings on, black boots, beige tops, hoodies, black eyeliner, brows that stood out about that far, and beige lipstick, and they all looked exactly the same. And they weren't twins, but they looked it. And to me, I think it's amazing that everyone has their own individual style. So that's my top tip.
Yay. I like that a lot. I think a lot of people have with the Instagram filters and things these days, they're trying to look like the filter, don't they? It's the same filter for everyone, so they've all got the same idea of the pinkness here and the beigeness there and the eyebrows and things, haven't they? Trying to look like the Instagram filters. So again, that's a trend. I'm sure they won't be there in 5 years' time. Right, my next tip then is whatever method you use to try and lose weight, usually for most people, the popular diets anyway tend to be about restricting in some way. And a lot of people who do this, they end up, if they're not careful, losing some vital nutrients that they need to keep their skin nice and plump. And so actually you have to be a little bit careful about keeping enough range of foods in there that your body can have the nutrients it needs, because what you don't want to do is lose all the weight and find that your skin's gone all saggy because you haven't got enough collagen there, because you haven't got the vitamins that you need to make the collagen, because your body can make it if you give it the right ingredients. It's just about keeping that range of foods there.
I see that all the time. And I think the biggest thing that a lot of people come to me is they say, how can I get rid of these saggy eyelids? You know, not having any appreciation and basically basing it all on, sorry, that camera looks like I'm really far away. This camera looks close. Tell me when I'm jumping on top of it. How can I get rid of these bags and the puffiness, dark circles? They never think that it could possibly be food.
Yeah, they expect you to paint over it and make it magically go away, or rub cream on it.
Yeah, because the industry has made out that there's a product for everything.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And don't get me wrong, skincare is important. You know, there are things you know your stuff about skincare. There are certainly products you can use to make your skin feel better, but ultimately your skin's got to be healthy from the inside as well.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is that people come to me and they say they've got dark circles under their eyes, and they'll say, so what product do I buy? How can I make my eyes look bluer? How can I make my eyes look bigger? And as a coach, I'm actually just trying to peel the layers back. And anyone who's come and had a workshop or anything with me, it's a good hour before I even get into the practical, because I talk about the reasons why things happen the way that they do, which is really important. So.
Wow. Okay. So, this is your turn now. That was my tip.
Is it mine? Right.
Okay. Yeah.
I look really pink on here, and I look really beige on there. I can't believe the difference in the eyes. I put my glasses on and see, which my glasses are obviously covered in makeup as well. It seems to look better when I put my glasses on somehow. I don't know why. My next top tip is product samples. Product samples basically are the things that are designed to help people test shades and colours, not necessarily to use as a product. Well, should I say test shades and colours and allergies. And where a lot of people go wrong is that a product sample doesn't tend to be able to get you to use it for a long period of time. So for me, use your product sample, but ultimately it's there to test in certain areas to see if you're allergic to something. And fundamentally, rather than getting a sample, I would rather you know what was right for you in the first place. So if you knew that you needed to go and get a pink tone foundation, or if you knew you needed to go and get a yellow tone foundation, or if you knew that you needed to avoid aloe vera, or if you knew aloe vera in a product was really good for you, it's actually so much more easier to go and get a product. You would then tell the shop or the online thing or wherever you're buying it from, this is what I need. And I guarantee they'll probably fall off the back of the chair and go, oh my God, this is somebody who knows what they're after. Do you know what I mean? Which makes a difference. Just the fact that you can see my t-shirt underneath my top. We're all normal at the end of the day. So yeah, product samples. Don't pin it all on a product sample to get the right product. Don't pin it on trying it on the back of your hand and winging it, thinking I've got it absolutely right. Get your facts first, which is something that I love to do. Give people the facts. Then when you go shopping, you don't have to buy the 10 concealers to work out which is the right colour. You'll know exactly the colour. Before you even open it, you can look at it and you'll know exactly what it's for. So there you go. Next.
Fab tip. I like that one. I have to say, I'm always a bit confused by the testers in the shops, actually, because you think they're not always there for every product. I think, like you said, sometimes they're there just for one shade, aren't they, to get you to know whether you're sensitive to it or not. But actually, as a consumer, you think they're there to see what shade suits you. So yeah, it's nice to know what they're actually there for.
People just get obsessed with all the testers and everything on the counter. I mean, I think it's Estee Lauder now. I think it's something like 50 shades of their double wear foundation now. I'd even get lost which colour to choose, but I know what type of colour I need to go for.
Yeah, it's really hard, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is a hard one, that, but you know your stuff. So yeah, people are going to ask you. Right, I think this is my final tip. Actually, I think I'm on number 5 now. So my final tip on what not to do, and this is going to surprise you because again, it goes against some of the advice that you might have heard as standard healthy eating advice. I'm going to say don't focus on low fat. Okay, because
Okay.
low fat is, we're told that low fat is better for our health, better for losing weight. Even a lot of doctors will tell you eat low fat foods. My kids are certainly being taught at school to eat low fat foods for part of their science GCSEs and things. But the science now, the latest science, is showing that if you eat less fat, what are you eating instead? You're eating your proteins and your carbohydrates. Your body then becomes more tuned to the other foods that you're eating. You're effectively reducing your range of foods by quite a lot by focusing on low fat. And all the hormones that kick in to help you process those carbohydrates make it harder for you to lose weight. So actually adding a bit of fat extra in can suppress your appetite, make it easier for you to lose weight, just because of the hormone changes that go on in your body. I'm not talking about the menopausal hormones and things. They do talk to the metabolic hormones, but I'm talking about the ones that actually digest your food and process the energy release of your food here. So we have a whole hormone system that does that, and it needs a bit of fat to keep it running smoothly.
When I did your course last year, I think that was one of the takeaways that I took away from it, was the fact that quite a lot of the time when people had questions and things weren't working right for you, because that's what you do, isn't it? You're not with your course, you're not following a diet book. You're actually working out what is right for you, basically.
Yeah.
One of the things was that combination of foods. And the majority of the time, and nearly all of the people who were on your last course, the majority of them weren't eating enough fat, which, considering the majority of people went on the course to lose weight, I think was probably a bit of a shocker.
It was. And there was a lot of people's meals that I was saying that meal is, we test a lot of meals on the program. I said that testing is not very good for you, for your weight loss goal.
Yeah.
And they were surprised when I said change it to add more fat. Not for everybody, but there were certain meals that came up as being, could be adapted to be better. And my adaptation for that meal was add more fat. And they were like, really? And they tried it, they tested it, and it was better for them. So yeah, literally you can test the metabolic function of these, metabolic reaction of these meals, and you're adding fat.
It's just all the marketing, isn't it? I guess it's the fat industry and, and the sugar industry putting out all of these messages. And I know, again, I mentioned quite a few times that, sort of like the simplicity of what we used to eat before was like good home cooked food, which it does go back to that. We know about eating all of the, we call junk food, but somehow those microwave meals have slipped under the net of junk food. It's kind of like perceived as a meal in itself, but you're able to explain the reason as to why they're not good for people. But it's really interesting, like me, when you break it down, I think a lot of people walk away from my workshops using a lot less products and thinking they're going to be coming and they're going to be using a lot more, which is when I've done research with people to say, what was your initial thoughts about booking a lesson or a workshop with me? They've said, I hadn't booked it. I wanted to book it for years, but I felt that I can't cope with the products I've got, let alone I know you're going to be telling me to use concealer and highlighter, and you're going to be telling me to use these 15 products of makeup. And I go, actually, I'll probably be telling you to use a lot less. And they're really quite surprised with it. And it's just the marketing world, isn't it? The marketing world.
It is the marketing world. But certainly from the food point of view, the science has changed. I mean, there were studies done in the 50s, back in the days when real food was real food and they were just starting to get processed food in there.
Yeah.
There were scientific studies done that showed low fat to be possibly not very good. But looking back with modern eyes on those scientific studies, they weren't particularly good studies. And they were, like you say, funded by some of the processed food companies. So they wanted to be able to put labels on their food that made it look healthy, even though it was processed. So that was the motivation behind some of those studies. So it's amazing now that our entire government system
look at the very small print at the bottom who sponsored the actual thing. There was one for, is it better to do dry your hands with a hairdryer or dry your hands with paper towels?
Okay.
And when you looked underneath, it was sponsored by Dyson. And guess what came out? It was better
with a hairdryer, I'm sure.
Yeah. Interesting. So my last little top tip is don't buy palettes of cosmetics.
Okay.
Years ago, when I used to go into department stores a lot more, when I was a manager, and I used to visit every single store in the UK, from a little Lloyd's chemist right through to Harrods. They, at Christmas, certain brands used to sell you these massive boxes of collections of products. And if you added it all up, I mean, most of those things would probably last you your whole life. I mean, but people brought them, especially the men, on a Christmas Eve who were drunk, and they were like, I need to get my wife something. It looked amazing, it was massive, and it was big, and it represented so-called good value. So here we go again about looking at the value rather than the content. And those boxes come through this door or online through a workshop to me going, so what do I do with this? And even I struggle. I kind of go, right, okay, because I'm all about breaking things down, making it nice and simple. And I've only ever sold singular products. I've never sold palettes, because ultimately there's always several eyeshadow colours in there. And the other alternative, people think, well, I've got to use every single colour. So they put every single colour on, and that looks really confusing as well. So don't buy palettes of cosmetics. Singular products is the best thing that you can possibly do. I'd rather you have one thing and use it right and good, rather than 5 things and put yourself under all that pressure.
I have to say, I've got a palette which I nicked from my daughter, actually, because she bought it and she didn't use it, so I thought I'll have a go with that one. And it must have 20 different eyeshadow colours in there. And you can tell I've nicked it up for about a year ago now, and there's 2 that have got a hole in them where I've used them loads, and the rest are untouched. They've still got the seal on them. So it doesn't save any money to buy the 25 colour palette if I'm only going to use 2 colours, does it?
No, definitely not. And the amount of products that I go through, and they've just been in there a long time. It's great for my little pot of products at the back here.
Yeah.
If anyone's joining a bit later, I'll just turn my camera back round there. I was saying before that big vase over there is literally products that get thrown out or put to one side because people just don't use them anymore. So that's my 5 things. Is that your 5 things?
I think I've been through all my 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 5 on my post-it note down here. I think I've covered all those. So yeah, that's our 5 don't do's.
Yeah,
for looking good and feeling good.
So my little thing that I wrote down when I was writing this out the other night was the fact that the key question is, everyone then says, is you need to know what's right for you, don't you? That's it. Everybody says, well, it's easy. I just need to know the right thing, the right product for me. But actually it's not. That's marketing, is knowing the right thing, because that's basically saying you've opened yourself up to somebody selling you, telling you, training you on absolutely anything, and then you're going to go and implement it. My missing word in there is knowledge. So the thing for me is you need the knowledge to know what's right for you. And that's when we connected, because what we do differently is we don't necessarily sell a load of products and say you need to use this. Yes, I have got a small range of skincare products, but they're quite universal. But for me, I always educate people on the reasons why that particular product is right for them.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I have to say, when I've done some of your product tests that you set out in your course that I did recently, I remember what you said. I've given you 3 products to try here, but I'm going to show you how to test what's right for you, and it might be none of these 3. I've just given you these 3 to play with, because they might not be right for you, and how to tell they're not right for you. So you gave the knowledge to then go away and find something that was right. So yeah, that's absolutely right. Same thing what I do. People ask me for a diet plan, a meal plan, what book should I buy? Is there a book I can read that tells me what to do? No, I've read every book I can find on this thing, even books that have got titles that sound like they're going to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Read the detail and you think, well, that wouldn't work for some people, and that wouldn't work for some people. There's no such thing as standard advice. You need to know how to
personalize it.
Personalize it. Yeah, that's what you need to do. It's very bespoke, very unique for everybody individually. Even sisters wouldn't have the same meal plan from me if I was to write a meal plan for them. So how can I possibly write one that covers the entire world?
Even twins, we talk about it a lot. Identical twins, if they had a makeup lesson with me, their emotion behind a product and a colour and the way it felt and looked is completely different. So I'd have to tweak it for them individually, and that's the main thing. So for me, my membership that I started, because I'm getting asked questions all the time now, because people are saying, you don't sell makeup anymore, Esther, so what do I buy? And it's not an answer that I can give people immediately. So I thought I'd go down the route when I pivoted to an online world, like pre-COVID, and obviously COVID cemented it in there. I decided that I was going to do courses. So every month I was going to do a course about foundation, and then I was going to do a course about skincare, and then I was going to do a course about eyeshadows, then I was going to do a course, because everyone was asking me. But what I realised was there was probably the best part of like 15 courses, which meant that the brow workshop would actually be in 3 years' time. So it just wasn't going to work, because people wanted those answers now. So the idea of the membership is basically anyone can ask me any question at any time, which is what's happening. And then everyone within the membership gets the answer, because if someone's asking that question, so is a lot of other people. So the question obviously is now, what foundation should I go and buy? What colour should I go and buy? And inside the membership, we get the answers. And it just basically means my life's made easier. People get the answers, then people have the freedom then, and the knowledge and the confidence to go and get what they need. But when I was working with you, the missing element that I got to help people look and feel good was the internal bit.
Yeah.
And you came along and you were just like, I mean, when you have spoken to people in my group and said, this is what you eat to get good skin, I'm like thinking, you should be standing on the doors of Harrods and talking about that. People are spending an absolute fortune to get good skin, but the section that you did about getting good skin and what you needed to eat to get good skin, I think was amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to come and chat to your membership if you need an expert. I know you've got me there as a person to call upon, but if you want me to do a guest appearance with a particular topic,
you know that I definitely do. You know that I definitely do. So just before we finish, I just wanted to say that Suzanne is doing the course that I did. I know people have asked about what I did to spear my weight loss and get myself sorted and get myself motivated, and you've probably been seeing I've been going walking and doing things. That course is still called Blood Sugar
Revolution. Yeah.
You're running that again. So it was the trial of it last year. So the launch of it is, the proper launch of it is this year.
Yes.
But you're
actually... So the course will be starting 7th of February. So it's just over a week away.
Okay, it's over a week away, but you need to sign up for it by tomorrow.
Yes. Reason being, I have kit that I need to send out to people. Okay, this is not a diet plan. This is not a case of me telling you to go and buy this brand of cereal and put that on your toast. I need you to test certain functions in your body. So I need to send you some kit out that I'll be giving full training on how to use, obviously. But if you haven't got the kit, can't do it. Get most out of the first session. So yeah, I need to sign up by tomorrow night for anyone who wants to come along.
So when we did it the first time round last year, we didn't have kit sent to us.
No, it's an added thing this time. I've taken on board feedback. There's two things I'm changing this time. One is I'm sending you the kit, so you don't have to worry about finding it or buying it or getting replacement bits for it when you need extra supplies. But also I'm giving longer support this time. Last time it was an 8-week program with a bit of extra support, but I'm actually giving a full 4 months worth of access to me. So there'll be a dedicated Facebook group where I'm in there every day answering questions. So if you get to the end of the 8 weeks and you think you know what you're doing, and a month later you go, oh, I'm not sure now, you can then come back and get support from me and continue the training and the habits forward.
Because work gets in the way, doesn't it? Work, holidays, life gets in the way. And although it's like, over the 8 weeks, you've got that weekly thing that you learn from, you change things. There are situations that sometimes you can't make those sessions. So that's fantastic that you've extended it. So it's actually a course that lasts for 4 months, which is...
It is, yeah. And you get lifetime access to the recordings of the trainings, don't get me wrong. But in terms of access to me, group support, because I think that's really important when you're going through any weight loss program, is to have people on the same mission as you. So that's all there. But in terms of, the actual...
it's really good.
4 months worth of support there.
Yeah. And that's why you do things, isn't it? To trial them and test them, and then you make it absolutely perfect. I've definitely learned over the last year, which is why the creation of the Beauty Mindset membership came about. It didn't come about because I sat down one day and said, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do online courses and just do a new one every month. What I realized is for my current clients, that's not what they wanted. I also wanted to pull together all of my clients, so my transgender clients, as well as my young and my old, dare I say it, I'm in that category. I just wanted to pull together absolutely everybody and be an ambassador towards, you know, I was going to say integration, but that's the wrong word. I want, you know, diversification and empower everybody together. But by doing the membership, as a membership of a golf club or anything, it's the members that drive it. So the members ask the questions, and every month there's a masterclass and there's a guest speaker as well. And it's all about looking good and feeling good. So with that in mind, Suzanne very generously gave me an opportunity to link together and work together, really. So what we've decided to do this time round, because we did it again last time when people got my skincare course and we worked together on that. This time round, I'll put the link in. It's a link that basically gets you into my membership for a year. So you would have a year's access of all of my masterclasses, all of my workshops, and you would get access to Suzanne for 4 months. So I'll put that link in the link below if anyone's interested, or you can buy our things individually. You don't have to get both, but it does work out incredibly good value.
It does. You're basically saying if you access my 4-month program, you get Esther's whole year's worth of support for free, which I think is a really, really good deal.
Thank you very much. It's all good stuff, isn't it? Right, I'll see you all soon. Take care. I'm sorry that I haven't been answering any of the questions that have popped up. This is in StreamYard. The questions that I got last time, I think we've covered them off because a few of you sent messages, which was how long was my membership, which is a year. You get access to it. You should get all of the workshops and you get all of the speciality speakers coming in, which is hair care, clothes advice, exercise advice. Every month there's a specialist coming in about the feel good factor, and I'm obviously focusing on the look good factor. They were asking if you got any kit in advance before your course, because I know a few people were interested in it last time and they missed that this time around. Yes, you do go. Yours is 4 months, so that's what answers. So I think we've covered the questions that I got asked. So I'll see you all soon. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Suzanne.
Bye.
Bye. And broadcast.